Hey everyone, welcome back to the Team Empire podcast. You're here with your host Shannon for episode 89. We've done like 6 episodes this year already. It's not even the end of January. And I've got a big one on today. He's been on with me twice before. And I love having him on. I just love chatting to him anyway. So I was like, get back on here. I've got Jordan Earl. How are you, Jordan?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for joining me again. 3rd episode together.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I've got a few random things for Jordan. I always throw random shit at Jordan, but he loves it. He's here for it. So we're going to chat all about what he's been up to, of course, what you've been doing, like what you've been up to since the season ended, your plans for this year, all of that stuff that people want to know. There was a few Instagram questions. You're doing a bit of different training at the moment. So we'll chat all about it. First of all, you were the coach with the most pro cards last year. That was banging, man. I was so stoked for you. I turned around and looked at you. We were doing these ones. Can you tell me about your season for last year and what you thought of your clients and your new pros? Just give us a little bit of a wrap up.
It was a good year. Like it was a good year, competitively speaking. Anyway, it wasn't my biggest team I've coached. I've had teams that were larger, but in terms of like how everyone did and how we went at comps and obviously pro cards and wins, it was by far the best year I've had, which is always the goal to, improve and be better than you've been. So that was on a personal level, that was really cool. You're proud of, a lot of these people that competed. I've coached them for years. A lot of them had never competed. So seeing them finally do it, not just do it, but do it really, really well and do it like somebody that's done it for many years was like real cool to see. Like it shows me that they've really taken on board a lot of the things I've tried to teach and, just experiences I've tried to use to teach them. So that was really cool. Went really well overseas too, which was cool because obviously, you get to a point where we want to do well everywhere, not just in New Zealand, but if we can, as coaches, we want to be worldwide. So that's kind of, we're knocking on those doors now, and yeah, more overall titles there. No pro cards, unfortunately. Very close. I would like to hopefully get one overseas this year. I haven't done that yet. So that would be a big goal. It's very hard because you've seen the level of the caliber of the girls, especially the wellness girls, and for them to not go pro is like, that shows how competitive it is there. You just obviously you never know who's going to show up, especially when you're from New Zealand because you don't know the competition. But yeah, if we can kind of back that up here this year, I'll be very, very, very happy. Because yeah, it was a great year.
Yeah, it was so good. It was fun to watch. It was just awesome. And you took over wellness. Like wellness is your division now. It's just owned by you. Like if if you need anyone, you go to Jordan. Your league days must be insane. But it was cool. It was just fun to watch and just to know how much, like, because everyone's followed obviously Hale, Nicole Cooker, a bunch of people have followed her. So it was just cool to like see Hale up there and get it done. And everyone was just like amping for her. So obviously onwards and upwards for your new pros. They're still going to continue with their journeys as far as you know. Obviously, we're not asking for any plans, but are they just going to continue working and going hard?
Yeah, like most pros in this country and pros in general, they need to get better to be competitive on a pro stage. So nothing in the near future, but there will be shows and whatnot when when improvements are made and whatnot, to be, not to say they couldn't be now if they died it down and whatnot. Of course, they're going to look good. They're pros, but to really be on there with noticeable differences from where they were and to go from that's when I won my pro card, now I'm a pro. There's a difference. So yeah, it'll take a little bit of time, but not crazy amounts of time. A lot of those things, though, them aside, just comes down to the individual and how locked in they decide to be. And if someone can really lock into that, it doesn't take that long. We've seen it here with you just talked about wellness. Look at Jasmine.
Yeah.
The difference between her pro debut, her when she won her pro cards or her pro debut, like shows what you can do if you lock in. That's someone who locked in. So, yeah.
We'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what they do next. Obviously, pros get announced for their shows closer to the time, so we'll just see whatever they get up to. But it is another level, so pumped to see how they grow and move into the pro level. Scary, but exciting. We even got our calendar this year. Everyone's whinging about it. I'm kind of excited just to see whatever happens. I'm just like, whatever, let's just grind and just see when the shows turn up. We know when they're going to be ballpark. So, but from your opinion, do you reckon, because you were there when Mo said we're going to have a 2-1-2 pro show, and you were there at Mo's Muscles when he said we're going to repeat this and hit Classic Physique and Men's Physique. Do you think we're going to get them as well now that we've got a bikini show? Like, it's a bit much, hey?
I think 4 classes is a lot to ask for. I would love it. I would love it. I just think it'll probably be, if you just look at, the history, it'll probably be two classes. I hope it's two classes. Like, it would be cool to see I'm glad there's a female class. It's cool because there hasn't been one for quite some time. And with bikini, there's so many New Zealand bikini pros now, and not just pros, but pros that will be active and want to compete. So that will be cool, and it's kind of cool to see. Like, for me, what I get excited about is you see all these girls that have like Miss NZ 2020, 21, 22, whatever year they won it. It's like an overall of all the girls who have won their pro cards over the last 5-6 years, which is quite exciting. But to answer your question, I've got no idea. I just know it costs a lot of money. So to do 4 pro shows would be huge. But who knows with Mo, like, he's got a lot of connections. If I wouldn't put it past him to get people here to make it, to put it on. So yeah, I hope it's true, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
We have to wait and see, guys. You can't just call anything. But I just thought I'd check you about it because people are probably getting their hopes up that there's like 4 pro shows, and I'm like, hold up, there might not be. Just don't get too excited because they are, like you say, they're so expensive. I mean, he always talks.
I don't think there would be 212 and classic. I feel like it's one or the other.
And men's it's like 2 men.
Yeah, maybe men's physique, but I just feel like a lot of the people that do 212 can do classic and vice versa.
Yeah.
So
True.
like, not to say that that's how it should be done, but just that's kind of what happens. I mean, we've seen it here. We've had guys who want to do 212, but they've just jumped into the classic pro show to just to do a show here. So yeah, but we'll see.
We'll see. Hold on tight, guys. We'll find out soon. Speaking of our shows, there's rumors that there might be less shows and that they're all going to change. And like TOC's now after nationals, as we know, because that's the pro show. What's your favorite New Zealand regional? Like, what's one that you would hate to see like go?
I don't know if I would have a favorite regional, to be honest. I kind of just view the regionals as stepping stones for nationals. I've never really. I used to enjoy the Hamilton shows because they used to be like the most competitive because everyone would do them because they're like 2 weeks before nationals back in the day. It's kind of still the case, but maybe not as much. People like to spread themselves out. But I don't think I would say I have a favorite regional. I guess the coolest one is Mo's one because it's the pro show as well. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. Just yeah, for me, it's just which one's gonna for myself or for athletes, which one do I want you to do or do I want to do to give us the best look at nationals and set us up the best way possible for nationals? And there might, if that's 4 weeks out, 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out, then that's the one. But yeah, there's definitely no preference other than Auckland because it's just down the road.
Please don't go to Auckland.
Yeah,
They have nowhere to go.
yeah.
Keep them in, guys. Talk about you and your training and not competing, but other stuff like you're doing. I think is it boxing? I don't know. Talk to me about that. Is it martial art? What are you doing, and are you enjoying it? Like, what's the goal with it? Is it for fun? Like, just tell us about it.
So I've been doing kickboxing. It's a lot of fun. I started it just for fun. I wasn't planning on competing this year or in the near future, just focusing on other things. So I needed something to fill that void because I was feeling a bit lost, like there was nothing. It was weird. It was just kind of like, why am I going to the gym? Why am I like, it was just strange. I've always got something to fixate on. And I've always enjoyed that kind of training. I've done a little bit in the past, nothing crazy, but a long time ago. So I always wanted to do it, but it doesn't really complement bodybuilding. You can't really do both at a high level. It's just like literally they're the polar opposites. You don't want to be a bodybuilder doing that, and you don't want to do that. You just yeah. So I thought, well, this is my chance to try it. So I did a few sessions with someone, and I just really enjoyed it. And I was like, this is so much fun, just like learning. There's so much to learn. Like every day I'm learning something new. Lots of things that I never took into consideration prior to trying it. I just thought I never knew so much went into it. I thought it's just this. But then you're learning all these little intricate details, just like lifting weights and just like writing a diet. Like it's not just chicken and rice. There's so much more to that meal, even if that's the meal, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? So just, yeah, I find it real fun. And I definitely gonna keep it going. It's been a bit of a challenge getting the training frequency as high as I'd like it to be. Like there's been periods where we've been able to train 3 times a week and it's like 3-hour sessions. But then there's been times where I had to have a full week off or just do one because my hips are so tight or my hamstring's not right or just because it's so new, but body's adapting now. So hopefully we can keep the momentum going and do something with it this year a few times, see what happens.
Oh, like a real fight.
Yeah, well, that's the plan.
It's so
Just
scary.
to try it. I feel like it's like one of those things. I've always said like I want to at some point in my life. It's something I want to for character building purposes. So
Yeah, yeah.
we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's the goal. As long as I can do the training I need to do and consistently enough.
Yeah, get Logan Paul over here and kick his lights out.
Uh, Give me a good hiding.
I mean, good fucking, he's a cloud chaser, he'd be keen. But it's like being do you just enjoy it like being a student again? Like you can kind of go back to like sort of a square one point and just
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. And it's so hard. Like the training is so much harder than lifting. I don't care how hard someone trains in the gym. I train hard, but it's another level and it's completely different. Like like the cardio and the way your muscles feel, it's just so different and it's so hard. So just the challenge is cool. Like I enjoy training hard, so it's just a new way of doing it. And yeah, as I said before, there's so much learning and there's so much to still learn. So it's quite exciting. Um, there's a lot of things I learned from bodybuilding I can cross over, like from a mental aspect, just the consistency and repetitions and not letting all the voices
mm,
confuse you. Because as soon as someone hears you're doing it, everyone wants to give you like tips. You should do this. You should do that. And I'm like, fuck, half the things I know I need to do that. I'm not doing it wrong on purpose. I'm doing it wrong because I'm new and I'm 120 kilo and I'm just getting out of body. Like
yeah.
so it's the same with people that hire coaches and then why are you eating that? That's dumb. Why are you doing that in the gym? That's dumb. Well, because my coach told me to. So it's all the same. Like it's quite interesting.
It's
It's all
funny.
the same.
Everyone's an expert these days, eh?
Yeah. Yep.
Everyone's an
Pretty
expert.
much.
And sit down, okay? Just you don't even have context. Like, give us a break. What about your physique? I reckon your physique's changed a bit. You look good. Like, you look like, I don't know, just like tight, like fit. I don't know. What, like, has it changed much? Like, how's your
Yeah.
physique looking?
Definitely smaller. Definitely smaller than I was, which is fine. Like I knew that had to happen. I don't want to get small, but definitely was like, okay, I'm gonna lose some size. But that's also from doing less weights. I cut my weights down a little bit as well, just to balance the two. There was no way I could continue to train as much as I was and then expect to be able to do that training too. I did for a few weeks and I was just like so gassed, like just drained. So yeah, definitely a bit smaller, but that's fine. I don't mind being a bit smaller, a bit leaner. It doesn't take long to anyone that's been had a break from bodybuilding, any guys that have built muscle and they shrink down a bit, like give me 10 weeks and it'll be there plus some. So it's not something I worry about. And it feels good too. Like I feel better. Like I feel fitter, more agile, more energy rather than being tired and fucking yeah. Being like real heavy and big is not a nice like it doesn't you feel good in the gym and that's about the only time.
I get that. You look good, like you look agile and fit like that. So it's kind of cool. It's like, oh, Jordan's got a different physique now. You can easily pack whatever you need back on. Doesn't matter. Like you just look fit. So it's kind of cool to see the physique change. You probably need that anyway to be able to move quick. Okay, so
Absolutely. You only have to look at the top people and how they look and it tells the story. Same with any sport. Look at how the top people look. The 99% of them, they all kind of look the same. So none of them look like meatheads.
open bodybuilding, bro. It's like it's not quite.
Try and do some form of hybrid though, for sure.
Yeah,
That's the goal anyway.
for sure. All right, let's get into some nitty gritty stuff. I want to talk to you about men's posing because I don't really get to talk to many people about men's posing. And you're a good poser. You're an awesome poser. You've got heaps of clients, men's like all divisions. What were your thoughts on the posing last year across the board for us in New Zealand? And do you think guys are like practicing enough? Do guys need to put more effort in, or does it not really matter? Like, what is it like for males?
If you're talking bodybuilding, like classic and open, I think it's the same as every year. You have some good posers that stand out. You have a bunch of people whose posings are okay. It's nothing great. There's a lot that can be fixed, and then there's people that look like they've just learned yesterday. And it's kind of always the case. And I guess that speaks volumes. It's not just about how they pose, because there's people who can hit a good front double bicep, but they can't maintain that through 3-4 rounds. It's not just posing with guys; it's also endurance. Same with females, but it's more with the guys because there's so much more energy that goes into it. So you'll see a lot of guys will they'll do a round and then they start shaking, and they're shaking because they're probably tensing too hard. If you're in shape, you don't need to like be 100% like, with your upper body, but they're also just not fit enough. And they start sweating and like it just shit hits the fan. There's other reasons why that might happen, but yeah, that always happens. So I think posing fitness is generally not there for majority of people on stage, majority of guys on stage, and that's just because they're not practicing enough. And it's not just practicing, as I said, it's about rounds and rounds and rounds. So when I last competed, I did sessions with a guy called Joey Belt. He poses under KJ Center Stage. He's, in my eyes, he's the best posing coach in the world. He's so good. Taught me things that I've never even thought about, and I always thought I'm all right poser. But anyway, it would just be 30 minutes, but it would literally be non-stop. And I would finish and there would be a pool of sweat around me. Like I was gone. And that helped me so much because on the day of the show, I just felt like it was effortless. I would like, let's keep going. Let's keep going. And you don't see that. So yeah, there's obviously people that can, and there's guys who are amazing posers, way better than me. And you can see it, especially in the classic divisions. But yeah, for a lot of the time, it's just that fitness is what's lacking the most.
True. And like it's
with men's physique as well, it's men's physique posing is generally for the most part pretty good, but it's not as hard than bodybuilding classes for sure.
100%. You got to have the glutes on and the arms and the core and the
every muscle in your body,
crazy. Like I'm just a bikini girl. I always say it. It's just so different, man. Like everything has to be on, and like I don't know how you keep everything on at the same time, but like I feel like that's just practice, eh? And like
it doesn't a lot of the time. You'll see like a back double, and like the glute will start going soft, hard, or the hamstring will turn off on, and they don't even realize it's happening. I've done that myself. I watch videos. I'm like, fuck, I needed to keep that glute hard. So it's hard. It's not easy. It takes it's an art, to be honest.
You're supposed to be nervous if like, and you just don't want to be nervous as a guy getting out there in your undies. Like, you want to be like confident, eh? Do you reckon it would fuck you up a little bit mentally if you haven't practiced enough? Like you want to be on with everything, eh?
Really, you want to know when you're walking out on stage, you want to know that you are prepared. Everything's on. Your tan's on. Your condition is you're peeled. You're dry. You're full. You're pumped. Your posing's. You can pose 5 rounds, 6 rounds if they need you to. You don't care. You want more rounds because you want everyone else to gas out and fade. You want to feel like that, and if you feel like that, it's going to show for sure.
Yeah, true. That's the best way to do it. And like, where would guys go if like guys are like starting out this year? They're like, "Fuck, where do I start?" Like, we don't have that many posing coaches in New Zealand. Do you reckon go to the guy that you've recommended, or is there people online that just like are good posers that they could watch? Like,
I think it depends on the level of the athlete. So I wouldn't go to someone like that if I was literally learning how to pose. I would go to someone like that if I'm like, okay, I'm a decent poser. I want to refine it now, and I want to learn the next. I want like people like that. That's what that's what I'd recommend. I've done plenty of posing for beginners. It's not something I push because it's so much goes into like yeah. I do it when I get asked. I don't publish it. But there's a few decent. I can't think of it on the top of my head, but there's a few decent posing coaches here for sure. I think Mike Kingsnorth does it. Henry is decent. I know Denver's pose guys. So there's people here willing to teach. But if you're wanting to take that next step and get that like something, yeah, go to that next level with posing. If you're already decent, I would recommend giving Joey a call because there's a reason why all the Olympians work with him.
Yeah, he's got to be the best, man. Go to the top. That way you won't fucking fall too short. Yep. I want to talk about heaps of random shit. So this conversation is going to go all over the place, but it's okay. Everyone just roll with it. And that's something I've noticed over the last few years that I wanted to talk to you about because you're real open to chat to me about this stuff. But like at the gym, just like normal guys that I've met and just chatted to, they're all jumping on peds and they're not even competing or anything. They're just on. And I'm like, what are you on? Like, and what are you mixing? And how much? Some of them are on quite a bit from what I can gather. But like, what are your thoughts on this? Should guys be obviously just shouldn't be just jumping on? And like, what would you, if some guys heard from his mate, like I'm just going to jump on peds because my mate's doing it, would you have any advice for that? Because obviously that's way out of my ballpark with the boys.
I would say like don't start because once you start, you're not going to stop. But at the same time, people are going to do what they want to do. So I'm not going to waste too much energy if someone's like, I'm going to do it. And I say, oh, I don't recommend it. No, I'm going to do it. Well, go do what you want. Um, like people are going to do it anyway. I don't I wouldn't personally give advice for what to use to someone like that, depending on who they are. But I generally wouldn't give advice just because even if it's good advice, and it's like just very minimal and it's harmless, not harmless. Harmless is never the right word to use, but it's like it's the smallest amount they could possibly use to get a result, which is probably going to cause no issues, probably, but you never know because you don't know with it in this game. But in saying that, it's going to start like that, and in a year's time they're going to be taking everything under the sun. So I don't want to be the reason they begin that, or the reason they think, oh well, he told me like to do this, so it's all good. I'm going to do it now. They might still be on the fence. So yeah, like if you're not going to compete and you just want to look good, like you can do that without taking drugs. You can, but hey, if you're going to do it, you're an adult and you've got your heart set on it, and you're not going to take any, you're not going to not do it. Just do some research. And don't just do what your friend said or someone at your gym that you don't know. Try and talk to people that have been, that know what they're doing. Maybe hire a coach if they're willing to talk to you about that kind of stuff. But yeah, just get good advice, because I've had lots of guys sign up in the past who have told me what they've used, and I'm like, fuck you, honestly, like, and I say this straight up to their face. I say, you look like you don't even go to the gym. I'm just being straight up. You look like you've never lifted a weight. So the fact that you're using drugs before you've even learned how to lift the dumbbell or follow a meal plan is crazy. Like I put up a post the other day of when I did a natural prep and like 10 years ago, and it was all right. It wasn't anything. I mean, there's way better competitors now competing without stuff than I was then. But a lot of guys were like, oh, you could beat lots guys that are on gear, blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking like, fuck, that's not something to be proud of. That's like that shouldn't happen. People need to really lock in on the basics and just learn. Like maybe like one advice I would say is, if you're going to do this, hire a coach for a year, do everything they say, train like a nutcase, and watch how much you can improve without it. And even then, if you do that and you still want to do it, well, at least you've done at least you've not earned the right, but you know what I mean? Like you've
given it a go.
Showing that you can actually do the basics right. Because also I don't want to be one of those guys that are like, oh, you should only use it if you're competing, because what makes why? Like that doesn't also, like, just because you're getting on stage isn't, oh yeah, you deserve it now. So it's just, end of the day, it's personal preference, and if people want to build a physique, I guess one other thing I can say, just obviously just rambling here, one other thing I can say is it depends on where you want to take your physique and what you're willing to do to get there. So even if you don't want to compete, but you want to be huge, well, okay, then you're going to have to do it. So do it in a way that you're getting your blood work, you're working with a coach, you're potentially working with a doctor, or just try and be smart about it. But if you don't look like you lift weights, don't do steroids. Build a physique before you take them, if you're going to take them.
Yeah, that's the thing that I thought too, because like you can't just take them and it's magic. You have to still live the lifestyle. So why not get the lifestyle down first, and then like that's what always blew my mind. I think everyone thinks it's like a magic thing. Like
Yeah, because if you don't look like you lift and you take them, you're still going to look like you don't lift. You're just going to be full of water as well, and you're going to have high blood pressure. It's like you're still not going to look good. So, and until you do what actually works, they're not going to do anything. So yeah, and you don't want to, like, maybe it will do something, but then it's only done something because of what you've used. So now you're at a point where the only way you can potentially put on any size, and you'll still keep in mind most of these guys are still small, but they put on a little. Maybe their arms have grown half an inch. The only way you do that is when you're pinning. So it's like it's the only way and you could have done that naturally. So yeah.
And like most guys in their 20s, like early 20s as well, hey, they've generally got enough going on, in their body, like mostly. Like I know some guys have problems with testosterone and stuff, but there's mostly at 20, 25, like you're fucking firing, like use what you've got. Do you agree with that kind of thing? And then maybe like, yes, pushing 30, things drop, like maybe
yeah. Depends on what they got. Like if someone's competing in bodybuilding, I'm just going to be honest, I'm not going to be like a hypocrite. If someone's competing in bodybuilding and they're in their early 20s and they want to use stuff and they have goals and aspirations and they've been competing for years, I'm not going to be like, oh, don't wait till you're 26, because I wouldn't have done that. And also, the other thing about the drop off, like you obviously as you get older as a male, your testosterone is going to drop off. So that's like when people start using TRT, and that's gonna differ from person to person. Some people are going to start seeing a reduction at 30. Some people are going to start seeing a reduction at 40, and some people still won't have a reduction at 40 years old. I know people who are pushing 40 and their test is high, and they've never used anything in their life. Actually, one of my good friends I think he's 38, and his last blood test, his testosterone was like 40, which is like I was like, you're lying, you're using something, but he's not. He would tell me. So it just goes to show that everyone's so different. Also, I've had clients who have been 25 and they've got bloods and their testosterone wasn't tanked, but it was below the lowest, like it was like 6 on the scale. And the scale, I believe, goes from 9 to 29. I think I could be wrong. The numbers it's close, but it was like below normal. And I was like, holy shit. And no wonder you're struggling to build muscle. This is the reason. So in that case, though, like generally you can go through doctors and stuff if your test is real low, and they can help. But that's for a different reason than what you're. Yeah.
So if guys are going to do it, let's just say if guys are going to do it, they're listening, they're like, oh fuck it, I'm going to jump on anyway. My mate's got trenbolone, I'm doing it tomorrow. What do you reckon that they should at least do a fucking blood test? Like, surely that's a prerequisite that they should.
So if you're going to do it, and you're going to do it, get your blood work. Get a coach, get someone that's going to give you good advice, someone that's neutral. Do not take advice from the guy selling you the products. Get a coach. And if you get a good coach, they're going to know what blood work to get. And if you don't know what blood works to get, reach out to someone, and hopefully someone will help you. And if worst case scenario, you could go to a doctor, but the problem with going to normal GPs is they don't even know a lot of the time. They won't know what all the things to check for, but you can just, pretty sure at lab tests you can there's like something you can pay for, and it test everything, like basically it's like $350, I think, because you're not going through a doctor, but you can check everything. So I would do that for sure. And then the thing is, if you hire a coach, you're gonna get good advice. Well, you should hopefully get good advice if it is a good coach. Problem is, people don't know what a good coach is, but you'll get good advice about what to use, but you'll also get good advice about you'll know you're doing the right training, the right diet. Keep in mind, you might get a lecture about don't do it, and that coach might say, hey, nah, you're not there, you're not ready. Because like if I get a guy come to me and they want to use stuff, I've got plenty of clients who use things. It is what it is. But I've also had guys come to me wanting to use stuff, and I'm like, there's no way I'm advising you a cycle, because there's so much you need to do before you can even think about this. Like you're way off that. So yeah, keep in mind that they're not always going to say, okay, take X, Y, Z.
Yeah, it could just your advice is best for you.
It
costs a lot, but so does gear. So like, if you go to the gear, pay for the fucking test first. And like, you just don't want because if you've got like previous like heart history or heart health in your family, just anything like that, you just fucking don't know, man. Like, you don't want to risk it all for that. So just some ideas and just some things I wanted to chat about just around in general and competing in general, people, because it just seems to be a thing. Not something I'm on yet, clearly, but you'll notice when I do. We'll chat more about that then. Okay, so we're going to play a little game. Sure. How to coach. It's a red flag, green flag. I'm going to hit you with some like instances of things that will happen, and you can tell me if it's a red flag or a green flag. Some of them might be in the middle, and then I might give my opinion or whatever, and it's just fun. It's just a bit of fun because everyone's picking coaches, everyone's switching coaches. There's so much going on, and there's been a bit of shit that I've noticed over the past couple of years. It's fucking terrible. I think red flag, so we'll see. Okay, let's get started. We'll start off with an easy one. Your coach is shredded all year round. Red flag or green flag?
I know a lot of people are going to say this is a red flag, but to me, it's not. To me, it's totally fine. It's a green flag, as long as it's done in a way that's not like they have an eating disorder or they've got huge issues with food, because that will get passed on to the clients. But so depending on the individual, and it depends on what we mean by shredded, right? Like if we just mean like really lean and looks good and healthy, then that's a green flag, because it shows me that this coach has discipline. This coach practices what they preach. This coach is healthy. I would much rather that than a very out of shape coach. To me, an out of shape coach is a red flag. I don't care how well they've done. It's a red flag. okay, there's been great coaches over the years, especially like at the Olympic level, who have been in terrible shape and they've still done well. But I just think it's like practice what you preach to some extent, even if you're not a competitor. But yeah, as long as it's not, yeah, as I said, as long as it's in a healthy way and they're healthy and they're eating food and they're not on like 1,000 calories year round, then yeah, it's fine. Also, some people just stay lean. Some people like stay leaner than others. It is what it is.
Good discipline. It looks good, I reckon. I'm here for it. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Okay, scenario, you've been eating 1,300 calories for years just on your own because you just don't know what the fuck you're doing. And then you start with a coach to do an off season to compete, but then they put you on 1,100 calories and you lose your period because you're a woman and you just don't know what to do. Everything's fallen to shit. Red flag or green flag?
Red flag.
I mean, that's clearly.
Yeah, it's a red flag.
But people don't know this though, Jordan. Like I've talked to a lot of girls that are like, oh, I've been on, similar to these scenarios. Like I'm not putting anyone out there, but it's just, I talk to a lot of bikini girls, it happens a lot. So it's actually not, it sounds dumb, but it's actually like, some people just trust their coach and they'll just go to the fucking hell of the world just to follow them. To whatever.
There might be instances where someone signs up with a coach and that coach gives them a meal plan and it might be less calories, but like literally for a week. And then okay, this happened. Now we adjust it. Now we adjust it. Now we adjust it. That's a different case. But in this situation where they're losing periods and all that off season, no, that means that they've been on these low calories for some time. The only thing I'll say here, and I don't like to stick up for shitty coaches because generally this will be shit coaches, but just from my experience in this industry, people lie. And so so they say, okay, I've been on 1,300 calories. Just these numbers are a bit ridiculous. Like no one's gonna be given a 1,100 calorie. Like they will, but like that's a red flag. But just if we ignore the numbers, and anyway, they get a plan and it's less. One of my clients is a coach, and they actually were asking me about this the other day, and then that body's not responding at all. And they're kind of like it's like not responding in the sense that nothing's happening, but like they're just doing this. And okay, that can be because their metabolism's fucked. That could be because their hormones are fucked. But a lot of the time, it's because they're not following the diet and they're cheating all the time. So they're cheating on top of their plan. Therefore, their diet is all over the show because they're following it for one day. The next day, they're having a 500 grams of chocolate, and then it's just like this all the time. So that coach can't up the food because they're like, well, if I up your food, you're going to put on more weight and you're already not in shape. So they get to the point where they just don't know what to do. And this is what someone asked me the other day, but this is kind of not the most relevant to your situation. I still think it's a red flag, but I just like to keep that in mind. And I told the person who asked me, I said, yeah, don't doubt yourself because there's probably not being honest with you. If they are genuinely on that, like something would be changing, even if it was very slow. Like even if someone's got a real shit metabolism, if they're in a deficit for long enough, it's going to gradually come down. It's not just going to literally stay at, especially if they're at like 100 kilo. Yeah. So.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, it makes sense as well because yes, like people can lie, like athletes can lie, and they can talk shit about their coaches, and their coaches are like, "Well, I did everything right." You just never know. But if you are in your off season and your coaches put your calories down, maybe ask a question about it and be like, well,
"Yes," and maybe try, get a new coach.
Please get a second opinion. God damn! Like, what are they doing? Some of these scenarios are somewhat to things I've heard of, okay? So they're not all of them. Some of them are just fun. Your coach has 5 or more IFBB pros on their team. Is that a red flag or a green flag?
It's a green flag. I mean, if they've got a good coach, they're going to eventually have pros. And the better they do, the more pros are going to either create or get on board. So that cannot be seen as a red flag. That is a green flag. And anyone who says that's a red flag is living in fucking La La Land.
Do you have 5? How many have you got now?
Currently, well, it's hard because like I have like they stop and start. But if I was to count how many have I got active, 2, only 2 at the moment. Active, but obviously they'll start up and stop. But like I'm talking about people that are sending me chickens right now.
Yeah. And you've got people pro as well that have just like done things over the years on their own.
Yeah. And then some of them will. Like we've had conversations with them that they're gonna. There's timelines in place and whatnot, but yeah, at the moment, sending me chickens only 2.
Wow, it's exciting. I can't wait. Okay, your coach has given you, sorry, I've just lost my place. There we go. Your coach has you on PEDS within weeks of joining. This, we've just chatted about this, but is that a red flag or a green flag?
Depending on the context, because if it's someone that's competing and they're signing up for prep and they're good and they use, and say they've joined 16 weeks out for prep, then it's fine because like you're prepping and it is what it is. It's part of the process. But if it's someone that's not like that, so the opposite of that, then it's a red flag. I prefer personally not to, regardless of who it is, even if they're very good, unless there's a prep, like it's for a prep and it's close, then there's no way around it. But if possible, I would prefer not to, because I want to see how that body responds without anything. Even if it's a guy in there on TRT, I would keep it at that, just to see how I can get this body respond without anything, because then we add the gas in and it just accelerates it. Whereas if you just throw in all that and we're like, well, what's doing what? Because we know that using stuff is going to accelerate the process. We know it's going to enhance the process. But could we have made this more efficient if we had, blah, 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 if we had got everything right in that end? So it can be either, depending on, the situation.
It's all situational a lot of the time, but okay, your coach moved out of New Zealand years ago, and after all this time, most of New Zealand still doesn't like him, but you're still with him. So is it a red flag or a green flag?
I think it's a red flag. If most people,
There's a few, so you can't say I'm talking about anyone, all right?
it's hard in this industry though. Like obviously, if the majority of people dislike someone, also why do they dislike them? But if say it's for how they work, well, that's a red flag, because they're not going to dislike someone for no reason. But in saying that, anyone who's doing anything in this industry is going to have people that dislike them. Like I've got a whole lot of people that dislike me, and that's because I'm outspoken, also because I have done okay for myself business wise in terms of building a coaching business, and I've won lots of titles and all that. That makes people dislike you. I've had things said about me. Sometimes it's been true, sometimes it's been completely made up, and then Chinese whispers start, and then I'm like hearing this person signed up with me and they got told by their coach that blah blah blah. I'm like, what the I haven't even spoken to that, so I hear things like that. So I'm always skeptical when I hear things about people. If I haven't heard it from them, I'm kind of like, But in saying that, like, if there should be more people saying good things than people saying bad things, and if that's not the case, I think it's a red flag, especially if you're hearing of occurrences that are real, and you know them to be factual. Then it's a red flag.
Yeah. Maybe find out why everyone hates. That's what I would do.
Yes, find out why, and then make your decision based on that.
Yeah, because most people that leave New Zealand, we just forget about them after a while. But if people still hate them, there's a reason, probably.
It's true.
Is this the way it is? We like who's here and representing us. If you fuck off, you leave us, and that's including you, Jordan. I know you're thinking about leaving. I'm like, no.
I leave, I'll still be here. Like, I'm not going to leave forever. Like, it'll be like that.
In and out, which is okay. You can allow that. Frank's doing the same, so it's fine. Okay, your coach has over 100K followers. I feel like this one's quite relevant to like today's world. Is that a red flag or a green flag?
I think it's a green flag. I don't think it's a bad thing, because if the more success you get, the more people are going to follow your journey. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're a good coach. So it's a green flag, but it doesn't mean you're a good coach. Influencers have that many. Like, I know influencers here that have hundreds of thousands of followers, and I see what they post, and I've had conversations with them in the past, and like, they have no idea. But because they've got a following, they look good, they got good genetics, people want to think, oh my God, I want to sign up with him, her, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, it's a green flag, because it's inevitable part of success, but it's not this is what makes you a good coach.
Yeah, it's similar to like the blue tick, because like you can buy the blue tick now. Like that's how you get the blue tick. So it's like it's what you can buy followers, So sometimes it's like, oh yeah, that could be legit, but it could be like bullshit. Do your research.
Definitely be hype, yeah.
Research. Okay, so your coach bails on your meetings or your calls or your sessions or whatever, like last minute. Like, does it kind of frequently sometimes because they're a busy coach? Red flag or green flag?
Red flag. I mean, if you've got a busy coach with lots of clients, that's going to happen from time to time. It's all good. People have lives. Things come up. But if it's all the time, come on.
Don't waste your money. What are you doing? it happens, you know, people, there are some coaches out there, like yes, in New Zealand and around the world, that are just so slack on the comms, you know, it's like, oh God, come on.
Oh, slack.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Just get out, just pay, like use your money wisely. It costs so much, man. Okay, so your coach competes while you're competing. This one's kind of a common one. You've done this before yourself. Is that a bit of a red flag or a bit of a green flag or a bit of both?
It's definitely not green,
Mm.
but it's definitely not red. And it also depends on who it is, because there are bodybuilders who are coaches, and that thing you just said before about the canceling, that's what they're like. They don't give a shit. They just, it's clout chasing, it's money, and they don't really care. And it shows in their work. But there's coaches who do it and they still do a good job. They still work hard. But one thing I will say is, as a coach, you will 100% do a better job and work at a better level if you're working with high level athletes that require like the type of attention that they do, meaning like check-ins 4 times a day towards the end, like, you know, things like that. You're going to do a better job if you're not competing at that same comp. Your head is clear, you're fed, your brain is fed, you're rested. You're going to do a better job. So it doesn't mean you can't do a good job though. Like I've done it myself. I had 17 people at nationals the year that I did it, and I still did a good job. But I'm not going to lie and say like it's easier and more efficient to not be that person competing. Like I wasn't competing last year, and it was it was smoother. My head was clearer. I could, and at the same time, if you're talking about international clients, we're in New Zealand, it's hard. If you're prepping to getting someone ready for a high level show overseas, you're setting alarms every 3 hours, 1 a.m., 4 a.m. set, like it's all night. And if you're competing, you can't do that. You need to sleep. So yeah, it's definitely not a green flag, but also it's not necessarily a red flag if your coach is a hard worker and, you know, knows their shit and cares and is willing to maybe sacrifice part of their prep for their athletes. Then yeah, but it's like, yeah, it's just one of those things. It's a lot of the time like we coach, but we also love bodybuilding, so it just goes hand in hand. And it is what it is. It's something we have to just put up with at the time. And that's part of the reason why when I competed, I didn't tell anyone, because I didn't want people to freak. Because I was like, I know I can do this. I know I can do this. I'll be fine. But I didn't want people to be freaking out. Oh, he's competing. Like I don't want to text him and annoy him, or will he be able to prep me? Like, what if he blah blah blah? I didn't want that, so I was like, I'm not telling anyone, and no one knew. And everyone was like, I had no idea. Yeah, because I didn't make a big fuss. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Absolutely, because somebody's got to give sometimes. So it's a selfish sport. You have to be like all in on yourself that whole prep.
You do. So if I was, put it this way, if I was going to compete and it was like the biggest show of my life, there's no way I would prep people for that same show. And saying that, if I had clients competing in a show that was huge, like real, like important to me and to them, I wouldn't be like, I'm going to compete with you. I'm going to coach you, be the best coach I can be, because I'm going to do the best job that way.
Picking and choosing, it's got to be done.
Yeah. It's just part of it.
Yeah, it's part of it. It's part of the sport. So similar to the last one before, but like this happens again a lot with coaches, and you hear about it a bunch. But your coach misses your check-ins, like just doesn't respond, or doesn't respond to your messages, like quite often. Like, is that a red flag? We kind of know as well, but it's so common, guys, and people just don't get the message. Your coach is shit. But either way, red flag or green flag, Jordan?
If we're talking like once every now and then they miss a check-in, that's being human, and that's okay. Like it happens. Like it happens to me sometimes. We're like, oh, did you see my check-in? Oh shit, sorry, I missed it, or I went to my drunk, or like you updated me my clients are meant to update me in the morning, but sometimes they'll send them through at like 10:30 p.m. and then they get lost in other messages and I don't see it. So it happens every so often, but it's not a common thing. And if this is happening all the time, like if you're not getting replies to your check-ins, if you're waiting days to get your update, that's basically your coach telling you they don't give a shit. They don't care. They're not invested in you. They don't want to see you do your best. They just want to keep you paying. And that's just the truth. That's just the way it is. In terms of the texting, again, there's context to this. So depends on what the message is. Like sometimes people take the piss and they'll message you nonsense every single day. And at that point, I'm going to stop. I'm going to say it on here. I'll stop texting you back. If it's just nonsense every single day, I just won't reply, because I'm not going to engage in something that's not serving you. If you're going to tell me every single day that, oh, you feel out of shape, I honestly don't care, because you're 8 weeks out and it's not about what you see, it's about what I see. I don't care. I'm only going to tell you so many times you're on track, just follow the plan, we'll be fine. Again, I get to a point where I'm going to stop engaging in a conversation because it's also a waste of energy for you and I don't want you stressing about it. But I know you're not talking about that. You're talking about normal general stuff and it's a huge red flag. And I probably could have built my business on this alone over the years. And this is for people who want to be successful coaches. The amount of people I've had jump on board with me over the last 5 years just because their coach was never checking it, never like 7 days for an update, never replying, like just so slack. And then they have the audacity to message you or make stories and be like, oh, you poached him, you poached her. I didn't poach anyone. They came to me and they said, my coach never applies to me. My coach doesn't send me check-ins. My coach takes 7 days to do a check-in. They like, you know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous. So yeah, sometimes you've got to take a little bit of a look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I doing the best job I can be? I do that all the time. I look at myself, am I doing the best job I can be? Could I be doing a better job? There's always yes. There's always, I know that I've got points and even how I coach, like I could probably be better here. And that's how you get better because you're just constantly trying to improve. But I'm not going to point the finger and go, oh, they left because he poached her. That it happens. It happens. I get screenshots all the time from clients that are like, this coach tried to poach me. I mean, a client got poached a week out from a show not so long ago. It happens, but it's usually there's a reason for it. And if just run and get someone that cares. That's basically the best advice I can give you if this is you and it relates to you. And don't worry about upsetting them because they don't give a shit.
About that. Fuck off. Like they're not your friend. They're making you a priority. You're paying them for a service. Like it's literally a service. Like if your hairdresser didn't turn up at the time you booked, you'd be like, what the fuck? So why is it not the same? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, just watch out for that. You know, we can all be.
What are you so busy doing? That's what I want to know. Like, why can't you go on your laptop, open it up, and reply to a check-in? What are you so busy doing? Because most of them aren't working. Like, they don't have other jobs. So it's like, what are you doing? Like, can you not pause Netflix?
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Take your hand off it, mate. Jesus. Like, honestly, what are they up to? Or just like posting on their stories of their own training or something, you know, and it's like, oh, come on, it's a bit sad. But anyway, red flag, guys, get the fuck out. All right, last one for this, and it kind of goes into like a few things, but your male coach does his own tanning for his female clients, but this is also a big thing, like just inappropriate male coaches to female relations. Like I hear little bits and I'm just not okay with that. It is not, none of that sits okay with me. It's a weird touchy thing with bodybuilding, and there's like, yes, there's nudity, tanning, all of that shit, but I don't think any male should be, especially as a coach, tanning his female clients, but also just like photos, progress, but like everything's quite sensitive. Like, what are your thoughts on that kind of thing? Red flag, obviously it's a red flag to some degree, but it does.
Weird. No, it's weird. Like there's people that do tanning, you know, like there's tanners. We have access to some very good tanners. So why is what I want to say. And like they might say, oh, well, I want to make sure they get the perfect color. Well, then go with them if you care that much and make sure they got a good color. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. It seems weird to me, especially tanning like female, especially if they're nude. Like that's that I didn't even know that happened. But I would never put it this way. I'm never going to do that ever. The only time it would be like, oh, that's acceptable is like, say you're at a show and they've like spilt water on their leg and there's like a patch that's like, oh no, the tan looks shit there, and you have like some pro tan or something emergency and they dab it on top, then all good. But if you're talking like full on spray tan, nah, there's people that like stay in your lane. There's people for that job. Just coach. Do a good job coaching.
There's a skill to tanning too. It's like a genuine skill, and I know that this is a situation that has happened. Just for anyone who wants to know, and the tans look shit. So I'm just going to say it straight. I've got no fucking fear on it at all. I just think it's so inappropriate. Shouldn't be done. If it happens again, I'm calling it out. I've told some people, so it's been known. But I just think male coaches just need to just be wary. Like they might be so just nothing. There's nothing behind it. No malice, no weirdness. But it is a fucking strange situation, and all of that stuff I've heard, like, you know, progress pictures being shared and just things like that. Just males just need to just keep it tight.
With coaching, like what men need to keep in mind, and especially if you're working with lots of females, is they need to feel safe, and they need to feel like they don't like they don't want to feel like that. So you need to make sure that you've created an environment that's not sleazy, that's not gross, that people can't look at it and be like, oh, that's weird. Like it needs to be professional, and not just for the females, but a lot of them have partners or they'll get partners. And if they're not okay with it, guess what? If someone gets a boyfriend and they go, fuck that guy, they're probably going to have to get they're probably going to get a new coach, and your business is going to turn to shit. So if you want a successful business, even from like, okay, morally, of course, but just from a business standpoint, like you need to watch how you operate, and doing things like that are probably not going to sit well with a lot of people. I mean, perfect example right here. You just, the way you said it, I'm like, well, there's plenty of people who are going to feel like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm just a woman that's like that. I'm anxious. I get freaked out about guys and their intentions at times. And so I'm just like, I need a safe space. And Frank's giving me nothing but that. You're fucking awesome with that stuff. And it's just like, you just never feel like your coach is
And look how many females he coaches. This is what I mean.
Yeah.
He coaches a shitload. And it's because he's created an environment that people know this is about coaching. This is not weird. This is not, so it's a perfect example.
Yeah, that's it. So males keep it safe, like keep it extra safe, because like males can overlook things that women are like, so just keep it on the safer side. Just something to think about. All right, we're gonna play another.
Women need to also be respectful of that as well if they've got a male coach, because it does go both ways.
Yeah, 100%. Especially when you're like, there's a lot of things like backstage, there's a lot of nudity and people just take selfies and there's naked people in the back. That happened a few times last year, guys. Holy shit, that happened so many times. I don't know if you saw it, Jordan, but people backstage taking selfies, someone's taking their underwear off. Just like, guys, like fucking think about it a little bit. Like we were sending DMs to responses like, take that off your page. Like, oh my God. So just be careful. Like it's so fucking touchy. Okay, we're gonna play one more game. This or that. Just want to hear your opinion on whatever your faves are with a couple of things, couple of Instagram questions, and we'll wrap it up. So this or that, men's physique or classic physique? Since you're a bodybuilding boy, I have to ask which is your fave out of the other two.
Definitely classic.
Hey.
Not even close. I'm gonna be honest, not even close. Yeah.
What is it? Routines or just the physique? Like the physique?
I love bodybuilding and like raw bodybuilding. So classic's closer to open. Open's my favorite, and it trickles down. Yeah, everything about it.
Who's gonna win? This isn't in the questions, but who's gonna win Olympia now that CBAM's gone?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. But I think it's very open because he was so dominant, So it's hard, that class, because it's so like there's so many of them that are good. I'm not sure.
We'll see what happens to Arnold first, because that always gives you a little bit of an idea.
That will give you a very big idea.
Yeah, but I don't know if Mike's there. I'm not sure, but we'll see. We'll see who turns up. Okay, Mexico or USA for a holiday?
USA. Yeah, I love USA.
Put Brazil there as well, but what would that be?
Do you say Brazil?
Yeah, or USA.
I would say Brazil only because I haven't been there, and I've been to America so many times. True. So I would say Brazil just to check it out. But USA, I love it. Like that's always my go-to.
So good. Wellness or figure to watch at a show?
Oh, that's hard. I would say probably wellness. But I don't know. I think it's cool to watch. Hey, that's so hard. If it's probably wellness, but yeah, it's very close. That's hard. That's a hard one. I don't know. That's hard. I can't really. That's kind of like they're probably my two favorite female classes. Yeah. So that's to watch anyway.
Yeah, most people would think you'd say wellness, so that's probably quite interesting.
But just figures so like wow, but wellness obviously is as well. I think wellness. If I had to pick wellness, like if I had to pick to watch a pro show at like a high level, probably wellness. It's so crazy that like the physiques are so crazy. I mean, figure physiques are mental as well, but just that proportions and stuff. It's just like in the density and the
Wild. They're all wild. Usually figures before wellness anyway, so we'll watch them both.
Yeah.
Okay, Australian coaches. These two are probably the biggest coaches in Aussie, but who's your favorite out of Troy Thornton or Scott Goebel?
Honestly, I don't follow either of them, so I don't know. I can't say.
Do you know who Scott is though? Do you know like who kind of?
I know Scott Goebel's name, but I don't know any. Like I don't know. I wouldn't know what he looks like. I know Troy is.
Everyone knows who Troy is. My favorite is Scott Goble because everyone wanks on about Troy, and I know I've had him on the pod and stuff, but Scott's like, he's got way more pros now, and Troy's on the way out.
Yeah. I know the name, but yeah, I don't pay attention.
Not following it too hard. ChatGPT or no ChatGPT? Are you one of the abusers of it at the moment, like everyone else?
No, I never use it, but I keep like seeing people putting up like posts and stuff, and I'm like, this is ChatGPT, this is not you, because you'll see someone that can't string a sentence together, like everything's so off, and then all of a sudden they're like written this amazing, beautiful passage, and I'm like, fuck, I don't really like it. I'm against it because I don't know, like being able to like formulate words and speak and type and write is like a skill and an art, and then people just come along, write me a paragraph about. I guess it's just making people lazier.
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever. It's evolution, so it is what it is.
It has its place, doesn't it? Podcast or music for like just like maybe working time or whatever?
Probably music over podcast. I'll listen to a podcast sometimes, but I go through phases.
Yeah.
If I'm doing it like in the background, then it'll be music. If I'm trying to learn about something or want to hear about something, then podcast. But your music probably would be over podcast.
What's your favorite podcast besides this one, of course?
This is the only one I listen to. Honestly, I haven't been listening to any bodybuilding podcasts. I used to listen to a lot, but I've only been listening to football ones, which no one's going to know about. So there's no point going into it. I do enjoy the Andy Frisella one though.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Can't remember the name.
It's eluded me, but well, whatever it is. But anyway, I like that one. But yeah, generally most of the ones I listen to at the moment is just football. I'm not really listening to bodybuilding stuff. I don't know. I go through phases.
Yeah.
And then I'll go ask me again in 3 months, and I'll be listening to RX Muscle and all those ones again.
What about like business stuff? Do you absorb any of that shit, or are you just kind of like?
So Andy Priscilla one is business. He's a CEO, and you'd know it if you heard it. If your voice is very recognizable, but it's a lot of that is based on mindset and business, and a lot of I listened to a shitload of it like 8 years ago, 9 years ago. So a lot of things I learned I still implement to this day, and I honestly think it's somewhat formed how I am. I was always like this, but it's kind of like made it more intense. So yeah, I like that, and I also enjoy the Stephen the what is it, the CEO something? He interviews people. Stephen something.
Yes, I know what you said. I know what you mean. The Diary of a CEO.
Yes, that one. I like that one. Sometimes he gets some real interesting people on it. And you hear some of these things and it's like, whoa. So that's another one. Those are the two I would listen to the most.
Yeah, you got to be picky with podcasts and stuff.
What about you? Do you listen to any business ones?
I don't know, like PBD. Patrick, I love Patrick David. He's fucking awesome. So I listen to him all the time. I listen to some like my next question for you is about like investing. So I've been listening to a lot of like financial ones like that. I just listen to the States. Like I'm always on the States. I'm not even in New Zealand because we're so behind. I'm in Australia, States.
Yes, same. Yeah.
We're so fucking far behind. If you get all your education from New Zealand, mate, you're in the 80s. Like whatever the US is doing, we're doing it after. So just follow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much all I'm listening to at the moment, besides bodybuilding shit. So the next one, I don't even know if you invest, but if you do, Bitcoin or commodities, what would you rather?
I'm definitely no expert, far from an expert, and because I'm no expert, I just do Bitcoin because I know this is not advice, this is not financial advice, but in my opinion, it's gonna go down, it's gonna go up, but over time, it's gonna go up. So I just do that, but I'm trying to learn more. I'm trying to learn more because I've got friends who do very, very well with investing, and they don't do Bitcoin, they do all the other stuff. So I'm trying to learn about it, but I need to invest more time into it because obviously it's a lot that goes into it. But yeah, for me, it's just been that.
Yeah, and commodities, out of all the commodities, gold is the best at the moment. So get on it. Listen to me, fucking thinking I know what I'm talking about. One day I'll be rich and I'll be like, see, I told you. Okay, we had some Instagram questions, just a few that come through from a whole bunch of random people. But someone asked you to coach yourself at the moment.
Do I have a coach? Not actively working with a coach. No, I stopped. When did I stop? Over a year ago now. When I decided I wasn't going to compete for
Mhm.
the foreseeable future, there was just no point. But if I was to decide I'm going to do another show, which probably will happen at some point, I would work. I'd go back to working with Dom. I wouldn't work with anyone else.
Yeah. And what about your boxing? You've got a coach for that, or you have a trainer?
Yeah, yeah. I got a trainer. I got a trainer. We do one-on-one sessions, so it's very cool because a lot of I'm very fortunate because a lot of people that do that kind of training is just big groups and they're not really getting one-on-one training. They're just partnering up and stuff. So I'm getting just like every time I train, it's just one-on-one, very focused. So yeah, it's very lucky for that. But yeah, I met him at my gym, so it works out real well.
Yeah. Should we shout him out, or do you want to gatekeep him? Keep him quiet.
No, I mean, if you go on any of my posts that I put up, I tag him. So if anyone wants to see him and talk to him about training, just go on there.
And there's videos of you like sparring with him and stuff, so it's kind of cool. You can see him in action, which is cool. What does your league day playlist look like?
Ooh, leg day. Depends. It changes all the time. Currently, I don't really care what's playing. I just let my training partner decide because he owns the gym. He just puts on whatever. But there'll be days where we'll have rap. There'll be days where we have like real heavy stuff like Disturbed and stuff like that. There'll be days where we have Creed, like old school Kevin Levrone vibes. And then yeah, days where he'll put on Eminem and things like that. It changes. There's definitely no playlist, put it that way. It's so very everyone. I feel like everyone says that answer though. Like when you ask them about music, I like everything, but when it comes to training, it just depends on
Your
if
mood.
I need to get up. Like if I'm like feeling a bit like oh I need like a pick me up, then okay I'll go for some real heavy. And if I'm already feeling good, maybe some rap might do the job. So yeah, but I definitely like to. I definitely am for music when training. I know some people don't care what they listen to, but for me, it definitely helps.
Sure. What about a bit of D&B?
Not when I train, no way. I hate it. That would be my worst. I hate that. I know it's so popular, but for me, it does nothing for me when I train.
Like too
Yeah, yeah. I know, like it's probably the most popular, but for me, nah.
Nah, bit of rock gets you going. Like just Disturb's always good. Just
Just
throw
anger.
all the way back to the 90s. Someone asked, what did they say? Top potential means physique and classic athletes for their pro cards this year. This is someone who does means physique that asked. That's like right there.
Men's physique and classic top
Yeah,
potential.
or both for like potential pro cards. I guess we don't know who's turning up, but like I mean, out of the people we
Well,
know.
I mean, there's a handful in both. I don't want to get into names and stuff because, like, obviously I coach people and I don't want to dishearten or I don't want to forget someone and like you didn't say me. But I mean, I'm coaching two people in both right now that are going to be not saying they would all turn pro, but they'll be there or thereabouts. They'll be in the conversation just like they were last year. Um, so yeah, it's hard. It's with classics. There's quite a few guys in classic at the moment. I could probably there's quite a few. I don't want to say names again because I'm sorry to be boring, but I don't want to forget names and then you didn't say this and blah 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 like that. But yeah, there's a few. There's probably five in both. I'd say that men's physique. It's just like last year everyone thought that's another thing. You never know because like last year men's physique, everyone was kind of saying it's out of um, Apai, Akira, and Casey. That was the three names that I heard from everyone. Of course, some people said other names, but they were probably the three most popular. And then Isaac came and beat all three of them. So no doubt those three are going to be in the conversation again. They're going to battle it out again. There's other guys that are really good that were knocking on the door as it was, and that no doubt they're going to knock on the door even more. So I think it's with that class, it's going to come down to who locked in after nationals, who stayed on their plan, and who grew and then got in condition again and who bought it, who made those improvements because it's really there for the taking for all those guys. And then there's classic, obviously, there's guys like Tyrone David and there's a bunch of them that are kind of all there. They just need to who's gonna put that jigsaw together the best and bring it on the day. Who's going to be peeled, who's going to peak well, who's going to have a good tan, and who use their off season well, bought up body parts. It's so hard to say with pro cards because so much can change. Even so much can change from regional to nationals. I think we all get a bit carried away thinking, oh, I'm going to win this card and this person will win this card. And then you get to the show and it's like one person we thought won it and everyone else was someone different.
Yeah.
Look at bikini last year. Not many people predicted that. Not many people predicted men's physique. Classic was a guy from overseas came and competed. No one knew he was competing until we got to the show. Open bodybuilding, okay, everyone knew who was going to win open bodybuilding, but like that was probably the main one where people kind of knew what was going to happen, and the other ones was like we'll see what happens on the day. So yeah, it will be the same thing this year.
Yeah.
With all the
yeah, we'll see. I can't wait to see. Can I make my call though? I've got 2 for each.
Do
I
it.
reckon it'll be Akira or Casey. I reckon I love Arpai too though, but I don't even know who's competing. So I'm just going to say Casey and Akira because they're my boys. And then for men's physique, and then classic physique, I reckon Tyrone. I've always backed Tyrone. He just needs to fucking do it. And then Dan Sharpland, because he's now with Dean and Jazz, and he's been with him for a while. And he's like, if you've seen it,
Yeah, I forgot about Dan. Well, just before, like he totally slipped my mind, and he's another one who can bring it if he can lock in. Dan needs to get peeled. He hasn't got peeled yet, but if he does, like he's going to be a problem. Like his shape's crazy, presentation's real good. Yeah, there's a few in that that group, like they're so good. They just need to just take it there one more step further, and they're going to be a problem. So yeah.
In his first year competing with Dean and Jazz, so I reckon that might be a little help in his favor. So we'll see. Anyway, but I'm just
down to him as well, though. Like you can't just like obviously the coach helps, but they need to like getting into that condition's hard, and it's not him, just in general. Like sometimes people think like, oh, I got this new coach, I'm going to be so much better. But like, yeah, okay, you might have a better coach, but do you have the balls to do what that coach needs you to do to get to that point? That's when you really like when you see someone, a guy that's classic or bodybuilding and they're peeled, straighted glutes, feathered quads, everything straighted and peeled. They fucking busted their ass to get there, and they got through some dark days. And not everyone has what it takes to do that, and it's not always a reflection of the plan. So we'll find out. We'll find out who's got those, who wants it that bad that they can dig to those levels and reach those heights.
Go boys! I can't wait to see it. Oh, I'm so pumped. Can you make the moustache walk along your finger in a demonstration of yes?
Oh, no. I don't even know what that means.
I didn't know what it meant either. I thought you would know. I love it. That was Monica, though, who I did my last podcast with.
Of course it was.
I love it. If you haven't listened to that pod, guys, go listen. She's fucking amazing. Will we see a return of your podcast?
Maybe. I don't know. Probably. We stopped doing it. Things got so busy, and obviously you know this. Like you don't get paid for doing this, so it's like it's a lot of time that goes into it. And especially like we were doing them with like 3-4 people at once, so trying to arrange the times and all that gets hard. But at the same time as well, we talked about so much. We did quite a lot of episodes, and we ran out of like I ran out of ideas in a way. Like I didn't want to just get on and just ramble on about bullshit that no one is going to benefit from. So it started off being educational. Obviously there was banter and whatnot. But within New Zealand, there's only so much we can discuss. You know what I mean? Whereas when you do a podcast overseas, there's so much happening and going on. And also people doing overseas podcasts, for some reason, they can be very unfiltered about their opinions and whatnot. Whereas because we're smaller, it's just people don't take things the same way. Like someone might take something I've said today and be like, oh, you are like, nothing's coming from bad intention. It's just, we're just talking. So yeah, will we bring it back? Who knows? Well, let's see what happens. Maybe.
See, but if you haven't listened to the pod anyway, go listen to his episodes he's already done because they might be helpful for what you guys are wanting to listen to anyway. So go check out his episodes. It's Jordan Earl on YouTube. I'll link it below if you need to check it out. And then who knows, he might not be competing this year. We don't know yet, so he might have more time, but we'll wait and see. Bikini Pro card this year. Who the fuck knows? I don't even know who's coming, but I've got someone in my mind maybe that was really good last year. But what are your thoughts on that?
I think bikini is probably the class that put names in a hat and pick one out. There's so many of them that are kind of there. And I don't think there's no one standout in my eyes. That look, I could be wrong, I could be forgetting someone, but as far as I'm aware, there's not like one person that's better than everyone else and they're going to win their pro card. It's like there's a lot of girls who are good, and some beat some at this show, then some did this show and they won, and then they won, and bikini as well is like it's harder to judge because a lot of the girls are very similar, and it's not like a bodybuilding stage where they're way bigger and they like it's harder to break down. But yeah, I think it's impossible to pick a pro card winner for that class, and it's just going to be, again, as I said, who brings it on the day, who made the improvements, who did what they needed to do, who locked in and did the work, and who just made Instagram posts and pretended they did the work. That's what it's going to come down to. But yeah, it's that's the class with the kind of wellness in a way as well. Where yeah, it's kind of I'm just unsure. I don't know. I couldn't, even if I wanted to give a name, I couldn't, because I don't know. The other ones I have an idea, but this one I'm like, it literally could be like so many of them could do it, because there's so many. There's a lot some very very good competitors in amateur bikini in New Zealand. Some very good ones. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We will find out and see who turns up. But I think my favorite was Shan Bennett from last year. I thought she looked so good because she's got more density. I just like density. Like I feel like a lot of our bikini girls can be a little on the smaller side, which is fine. But like especially compared to, because I'm always looking at USA, but Shan Bennett's density is like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I mean, she's a little bit older than a lot of those other
She,
girls as well, so she's been training for longer.
she's a
I
pro.
know she had a shorter prep too.
Mm-hmm.
Conditioning maybe wasn't quite where it needed to be if she had prepped longer, which obviously she would. So yeah, I mean, she's definitely one of the ones that I was thinking about that are in the mix.
Yeah.
She's one of the, probably, if I had to list them, maybe one of the five, I would say, that if I had to make a list. But yeah, she's up there for sure. She'll be hard to beat, and if she doesn't win, then the person who wins will be really good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just some years we have like, Rochelle, who's coming back every year. Like, oh yeah, probably Rochelle this, like sometimes we have a couple of people that are like, right there, but like, fuck knows anymore. Like, I've got no
I
idea.
mean, it's not, people aren't in that class. It's not that no one's good. Like when I
Oh,
say no
no,
one's
no.
good now, it's not because they're not good. It's just because there's lots of good ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And kind of different as well. Like they're good, but they're different. And it's like, well, what's the judges gonna prefer? Because this girl's good, this girl's really good. They're both really good, but they're kind of different. So do they want the bigger look or the smaller look, the more conditioned look, the softer, fuller look? Like we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll
Everyone's
find.
just got to bring their best and see what happens.
I'm so scared. Okay, so a couple more questions. Someone said loving your IG posts lately, like keeping them coming. Obviously you've just been like you always are on Instagram anyway, but you've just been sharing stories and stuff. It's been fun to watch. And it's just good. So keep them coming, Jordan. I'm sure you will.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to be more active, so
I love it.
I'll keep on going.
And you'll always get honesty from Jordan. You'll get it real and authentic. That's the only way.
Yep.
Before my last question for you, I wanted to actually ask you something I completely missed. But what are your thoughts on the fit metal division? I've asked everyone about it, but I wanted to ask what your thoughts are as well.
So I listened to you and Frank talk about this, and you had a very good conversation. I've kind of I'm not a fan because I don't think bodybuilding is something that anyone should be like. It's basically saying like it's just making it more normal, but it's not meant to be. Like it's not, no other sport do they, like they're not going to do that, football, rugby, whatever. So I'm not a fan. I'm not like, oh, I'm so excited to watch it, because quite honestly, it's going to be the least exciting one to watch, because it's going to be the least wow, because literally the criteria removes the wow factor. They don't want condition, they don't want separation. So there's that. But I'm also not against it, because Frank pointed this out. It's gonna, like, obviously it's gonna create more revenue, and that's what it's about. It's about revenue, right? But everyone's gonna benefit from that. Like if promoters are making more money, shows are gonna be better. They're gonna have more money there. Obviously they're making money to make money. Let's not act like people put shows on to not benefit as a business. They do, of course, because it's so much work, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if everyone's got a problem with that, you're an idiot. But there's also going to be disposable income there to make these shows better, to better venues, better. People always complaining. People love complaining in the sport. Like people always complain about, oh, this venue shit, this lighting shit, this blah 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 shit, and then they do something. Okay, let's add something in to make more money, and then they complain about that. It's like, well, what do you want? Something's got to give. So it's not a bad thing in that sense. Like we're all going to benefit from it. Coaches will benefit from it. Athletes are going to benefit from it from other classes. And at the end of the day, if it brings in new people to the sport, it's not a bad thing. They're doing something positive. Let's try and be positive about it. And like every other class, it's probably going to evolve, probably to a point, because bikini will continue. This might push bikini up a bit more too. It might make bikini more unattainable, which in the bodybuilding world is a good thing. But yeah, so I'm definitely not against it. It's just different. It's new. People freak out when something new comes. They change their mind a lot. At first, I was like, oh, I'm not for this at all. And then I kind of sat on it and I'm like, oh, well, it makes sense. And at the end of the day, if people want to do it, they can do it. And it's not hurting any of us. The only thing we don't want, I guess, is shows finishing at 3 a.m. I guess that's the only thing I could say. But other than that, like whatever, like it's just another class. Get over it. I think it would be cool if like you couldn't do like if people couldn't like do that, like, and then also do bikini, and then also like if they could just do one or the other. But who knows? Like, yeah. So that's not really a definitive answer, but I'm just kind of just like, it's just another class.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm so with you on that. I wish that's just the way it was presented. I just don't like the fluff, like, oh, we just need it to be more attainable because bikini's gotten so big. And I'm like, get the fuck out. Men's physique's fucking huge now. Like,
yeah,
I just don't like that, you know?
And like bikini's like, yeah, it is, but also it's not like a completely unattainable goal for people. If people love bodybuilding, if females love bodybuilding, they lock in 3 years' time, they can have a competitive physique on an amateur stage. Like it doesn't take that long. Doesn't require like that much muscle. Like it requires muscle, but there's other classes for people that want shitload of muscle. So it's not like it's not like there's already not a class that people can, okay, let's lock in for a few years and be competitive. I guess that's the thing.
Yeah.
Whereas it shouldn't really be a class that you can just, okay, 1 year of training and then let's go compete. But I'm sure as time goes, after the first year of it, second year, a look will start to come, and it won't be as easy as people were kind of maybe hoping, or not hoping, but expecting. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah. If you don't have to get conditioned, I'm just like, it's a different story. Like there's just a little level of respect that is different, I feel, in my opinion, because bodybuilding is so like,
if like you've only been in the industry for a few years, if people go back to look at Auckland Champs Nationals from 2012 in New Zealand, I think it'll be very similar to that. And that's kind of the look they're going for, which that was the first year. No, that wasn't the first year. Sorry. That was the first year men's physique was here, but it was bikini had been around for long, and not just obviously the posing is going back to that, but the physiques as well. It was like a lot of girls back then they just went to the gym, and then a lot of them as well, because that was Mo really pushed bikini that year, and it was a year he opened his gym. I worked at the gym, and a lot of there was like training camps and stuff that happened at the gym. Mo did run them. One of the pros run them, and lots of girls came through, just girls from gyms, and they'd never competed before, and they were like, I'm going to do a show, and then they all competed, and there were so many bikini girls, and that's the look that they're going to have. Like they weren't shredded, they were lean, they weren't jacked. Yeah, it'll be like that. So I think if you go to look at that, you'll get an idea of what will be on stage. And I mean, it's still not unimpressive, but it's nowhere near what bikini looks like now.
We'll see how it looks. I'm excited to see who turns up on our stage this year for that class.
Yeah.
From bikini, or like come just from nowhere. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But more money is always good. So let me take it.
Yeah.
What are your goals for the year? Like obviously competing is probably not on the card. Like tell us, what are you going to be doing? Like are you just working hard? Are you traveling? What are you up to?
So I'm not going to compete. I mean, everyone's just a liar, but I'm not. I just locked in on coaching this year, 100%. Obviously, I've got my other goals and doing other things. But in terms of the bodybuilding world, just coaching. Just trying to keep, make everyone the best they can be. Hopefully, win lots of shows and get some more pro cards here and abroad. And yeah, some pro shows are lined up with clients, which is exciting. So hopefully we can get another New Zealand Olympian on stage. That would be amazing. So yeah, if I had to give you a goal list in terms of coaching, I would definitely an Olympian and an international pro card and another few here would be an amazing year. And you got to aim high. So
Yeah, that's it. And so are you thinking maybe you're going to go to the States this year? Would you go watch Olympia? Obviously, if you had a client there, you'd probably get there, but like, is that kind of on the cards for the end of the year? See how it goes?
so Shay took me last year. I don't know if people know
Oh,
this, but
yeah. Oh,
Shay took me like she took me out of her own pocket to
yeah.
which was amazing. Like that to have that much belief and like uh I don't know the word, but like from an athlete, especially of that caliber, it was an amazing feeling. And we've had conversations already, and she wants to do that again. So I just said, yeah, I'll make myself free. You just tell me when you want to compete, and we'll make it happen. So that will be happening. All things going as planned. In terms of the Olympia, I wouldn't go to Olympia unless I had an athlete competing. I wouldn't go just to watch it. I know I'll be there, within the near future at some point, and whether it's this year, next year, the year after that, whatever, it'll happen when it happens. That's when I'll go to that. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't really have anything locked in terms of travel, but there will definitely be travel. There's always every year with me. There's somewhere I go somewhere.
Nice. I love that. Shay for Olympia. Woo! Let's
That'd be
go.
great. She's got to win. To do that, she has to win one of her shows. So she's got 3 shows lined up. She posted on her story, so I can say it. She's got 3 shows lined up. 2 are natural shows, and one's an open show. The open show's like in between the other 2, so she's like, I may as well do it because we're there. So she wants to. She has to win one of the natural shows to qualify for the show that she did last year, because only naturals can do that show. Sorry, it's a natural show, the one she did last year, but only winners of it's like the national, it's basically the natural Olympia. So to do that, you have to win one of the regionals. And then if she wins that, you qualify for the Olympia. So
Yeah.
that's the goal. Obviously she came second last year, very, very, it was a coin toss. So yes, it's something, it's very realistic, which is exciting. She's gone from ninth to fourth to second. It's not slowing down.
Only one more place from here. There's only
Yeah,
first.
well, yeah, that's the plan.
And she's got an extra show because I think there was only the one Ben Weeder last year. Is that right?
Yeah,
Now there's
well, just one. So last year that was the only natural figure show like in the world, and then now they're obviously pushing the natural pro cards and the natural shows, so they've opened up more. So now they're making you have to qualify for that Ben Weeder. So yeah,
should we just buy it? Can't wait to see
you
what.
qualify just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yay. Oh, well, I'm excited to see what you get up to this year, Jordan. We'll see you at all the shows, most of the shows probably anyway. Like, I'm sure you'll just turn up, show face,
Yep.
it's there. Go follow Jordan on Instagram, everyone, if you're not already. It's great entertainment. He's awesome. So make sure you go check
Thank
him
you.
out. Do you still have spaces for clients this year for anyone that might be keen to join? Like, tell them all about that. Can they jump on
I
still?
do. I do. If you're interested, just send me a message and we'll have a conversation, see if we're a fit, and go from there. But yeah, I'm definitely taking people on, especially for shows. And I've had a lot of signups already this year for people competing. It's really cool because people are now starting to get the idea that a prep is longer than 12 weeks. So going to a coach 12 weeks out is not, it's a thing of the past now. And all the successful athletes are working with their coach year round, basically. And if not, they're giving themselves a lot of time. So yeah, if you are going to compete, even if if you don't want to work with me, if you want to work with someone else and you haven't yet started, I would very strongly recommend you start.
Yeah, start now.
There's so much that needs to go on behind the scenes prior to that prep to start that prep off the way it should be started. Like it's not just, we're prepping now. Like prep's kind of already started for October. If you're really serious, like it's not something that's just okay. Prep start. Like there's so much. It's a process.
Absolutely. Don't wait for the calendar. Just fucking go. What are we doing? Go
Don't
now.
need to wait for the calendar to be told nationals in October. We know this. We're used to it. It's been on October since I've been involved since 2011. It's always been on October, so I don't think it's going to change.
The regional's going to be around there, so just aim and just go, and get into it.
Yep.
Yeah. Get in touch with Jordan if you guys are keen. He's a great coach. He's awesome, but get in now before you've got a chance. And if you want to go hard, yeah, he's a good team to be part of. So give it everything, guys. Let's have a good year. Let's have a big packed up stage. Let's get lots of monies and more venues and all that fun shit. And make sure you're following the pod on YouTube, subscribe, like the video. It all helps, you know. Spotify, give us a little rating and a follow on Spotify there, and a follow on YouTube, Instagram as well, because it all helps, you know. And thanks, Jordan. 3rd episode. Well, I'm sure we'll do another one. Hey.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Excited. We'll see what you're up to at the end of the year or something like that.
Sounds good.
Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks, Jordan, for joining me. And we'll see you all in the next one. Bye.
Guys.